I'd like to bring this meeting to order. Welcome to the March 2026 City of York Zoning Hearing Board meeting. You were before the Planning Commission prior to today, and that is what brought you before us. Are you here? I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm hard to hear you. All right, sorry about that. We do take the commission's recommendation into consideration, but our vote is of our own decision of what is presented in front of us here. We ask that you do silence your cell phones, either turn them off or at least silence them, that they do not go off during someone's speaking. You will have the opportunity to come to the mic. I do ask that you speak clearly, directly into the microphone. We ask that one person speaks at a time. The stenographer doesn't need to take down everything that you're saying, and she can only hear one person when they're speaking. We ask that you will only speak during your turn. We will give you the respect of having your opportunity time. If you don't agree with what someone is saying, we do ask that you be respectful and wait your turn, and you will be heard. I ask that anyone who plans on testifying, or if you think you're going to testify, that you would please stand now so that you can be sworn in. Please raise your dominant hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information or statements that you will give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please respond by saying, I do.
I do.
Please let the record show that everyone who is in gallery who plans to speak has been sworn in. I will now introduce to you the zoning board officers, as well as the zoning officer for the city, which is Monty McMillian, over here to my right, your left. Our board tonight is to my right, Lester Abbott, Blade Klein, Adam Nugent. Vice Chair is Nick Holman, and I'm the President, Cena Jenkins. To my left, our solicitor is, he's standing in for Andy, Justin. And his name is Justin, and then our stenographer is Karen Brown. At this time, I will ask you, Justin, please swear in our first case, read it in.
Do you want me to call this one to vote on the continuance?
I think that was already
done. They canceled that.
Yeah, Nancy had already come.
All right. The first one I have is case number 8-2026-Z-SC-V. Applicant is Nathan Angler of 26 South Duke Street. The owner of the subject property is Madison and West LLC of 29 South Duke Street. The subject property is located at 601 Madison Avenue. It is located in the RS2 single family attached residential zoning district of the city of York. The applicant seeks several variances and a special exception to permit a multi-family dwelling in conversion from a different use. First, the applicant seeks a definitional variance to permit a multi-family dwelling conversion from a different use. As the applicant seeks a multi-family dwelling conversion from a different use on a property which is not an existing industrial, institutional, or commercial use. Next, the applicant seeks a variance to reduce the number of required off-street parking spaces and to waive interior landscaping requirements for the subject property parking lot. And lastly, the applicant seeks a special exception to permit a multi-family dwelling conversion from a different use, which use is permitted by special exception in the RS2 The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff recommends that the zoning hearing board deny the requested variances, but recommends approval of the requested special exception pending approval of all variances. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval of all requested variances and recommended approval of the special exception. The record before the board this evening consists of the application itself, the deed to the subject property, a site plan from Royal Square Development, a project narrative from Royal Square Development, and a photo of the subject property.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dylan Bauer. I'm the president and CEO at Royal Square Development. I'm also the managing member of Madison West LLC, which is the now owner of 601 Madison Avenue. We purchased this from friends of mine, Statewide Properties, who came before you about a year ago, I think. They went through the same motions, and they were planning to actually demolish the gymnasium and build a new building. Our expertise is in saving buildings. We think we can save this. So our plan, we have almost fully permitted plans to keep the gymnasium in place, add windows, maintain the parking lot, and maintain, most importantly, the parking ratio that we have, that Statewide had before. They sought a variance. I don't recall the actual number of units. We are looking for 41 apartment units, all one bedrooms, all around 500 square feet, and there will be 50 parking spaces. So that's still the same ratio that we had before. So we're asking for the continuance of that. I understand the concern. I've known this building for a long time. I went to church there in the early 90s, and it was of several things beyond that, and I've seen it boarded up for a long time, and I've heard lots of really good ideas. But the most important thing is for this to financially make sense, you have to have a certain number of units in order for the balance of the economics to even work. So we've reached that point, and then I took into consideration the neighbors' concerns. I've heard a lot of concern about parking, and I respect and understand that. We've just finished an apartment building very similar in downtown, Fox Apartments, 43 one-bedroom apartments, all about the same size square footage. We have 60 parking spaces on site. Everybody gets one parking space, and then we rent additional. We've rented 3. So in total, it's less than 1.2 per unit. I bring that up just because it's one of the only things I can really point to in recent memory that is a really good comparable of what these one-bedroom apartments, their size, the market use, who it is, and what kind of usage they have in their cars. So my friend and colleague here, Tom Engler, is going to talk some more about some things, but I understand the sensitive issue on parking, and I want everyone to know I sympathize with that, but we think we're going to be okay and have enough.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm going to move these documents here, if I may.
While you're getting ready, is there anyone who's specifically here for this case? Anyone else in the audience? Okay. 2. Thank you.
So I think the first thing that we would like to do. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. Tom Engler from Site Design Concepts, 127 West Market Street here in York. And we are the civil engineering designer and the land surveyor for the case. I think the first thing we'd like to do is just enter into the record here the original decision. Oh, perfect. That's what I would have. Thank you. So, without belaboring the point that we were here a year ago and requested basically these same variances and special exceptions, I did want to make sure that this got into the record so that you could see exactly what happened a year ago. And we'll walk through a lot of these details as we as we go through this presentation and case. As your solicitor noted, we're looking for a special exception and a couple of variances. As we talk about this project, there's just a couple differences that I think we need to point out for you. First, as Dylan mentioned, there is no demolition to the building and a new building addition. They're going to keep the building intact as it is and renovate the inside with a couple minor changes to the outside just to get doors and access. The difference between this project and the last project are 2 units. The last project proposed 43 units. We're proposing 41, so there's a smaller density. We're reducing the density. The last project, of those 43 units, 32 were 1 bedroom, and they had 11 2-bedroom apartments. We're looking at 41 units. 40 of those will be 1 bedroom. There'll be 1 2-bedroom. So again, a reduction and less dense of a project. As far as parking goes, again, not to reiterate what Mr. Bauer said, but we are reducing the number of parking spaces from that original plan we had from 53 down to 50. However, the ratio is staying the same, 1.2 parking spaces per unit, which I believe you've heard from us many times on many projects here, that is the current urban standard for apartment buildings, not just in New York, but around the country. I think the fact findings that you have in the decision stated that the approval was for at least 53 parking spaces. So that's kind of where it differs here. If it would have said it was a variance for 1.2 parking spaces per unit, we probably could have worked with the city to make that work. But the decision was to have 53 parking spaces. So we're reducing that down to 50, but the ratio is still the same. And then the other variance that we were looking for was units per acre. I believe the requirement here is RS2 district, 15 dwelling units per acre. It was previously approved a year ago by this board at 46 units per acre, and we're bringing that down to 45. Not a huge difference, but again, based on what you approved previously, this is another reduction in that. Let me just save that. So, moving on to the existing conditions out there, and I apologize. We had a lot of meetings tonight in our office, and I drew the last straw and did not get an easel for you. So, over there, kind of out of the way and down so nobody can see it, is our plan. I will try to outline. We've got almost 1 acre. We're just under an acre. We're about 0.94 acres. The building sits there. The existing site has a parking field right here, and the only access to that parking field is through that back alley on Rockvale. There is landscaping across the front. This side is, I can't remember if that's paved or concrete, but that slope is impervious now. The retaining walls around the site on the front are old timber retaining walls. Those are going to be replaced with a new, some sort of masonry retaining wall. And we will also keep this, well, I'll get into that, what we're going to get into. But I think right now the point of the existing conditions plan is that the building is here. We've got 0.94 acres, and we have this parking field that's going to stay the same for the most part, but only has 1 access point through the alley. So really no difficult for delivery trucks, almost impossible for emergency vehicles. And I apologize. I should have given you the existing conditions plan for you to look at. If you would like that, I can do that now. So moving on to the, before we do that, just to note that the existing coverage on this lot is 97% coverage, and the open space is about 3%. We're gonna make those a little bit better, and I'll get into that here in a minute. Again, I don't think I need to go into the building footprint as we did before because it's not gonna change. As far as the let's see here. So at this time, you use the proposed plan, so you can look at that while I walk through that. So, existing or proposed conditions, the building is going to remain the same. Parking lot, almost the same. We have laid out the parking lot a little more efficiently with new striping to get our 50 places, and that includes 3 ADA spots as required. The big change here is we are adding an entrance right here off of Madison. And that serves a lot of purposes, right? It gets it access off the main street. It provides access to delivery trucks and vans, and we have shown this to the fire department with a turning template for the fire trucks of the city of York, and that works as well. So we've gotten their approval there. So that entrance will come in right there next to the church's entrance. Now this is new to this project, obviously, because there's none there now. However, this same entrance was approved by the city for Manitou back in 2014. I might be off a year there, but in that general time frame. So that's not the first time the city has seen that entrance. At the same time, the Manitou wanted one on this side of the street onto Northwest there. That is not being proposed there. And we got applause from the city staff on that. They never liked that. It was not a full movement drive. It was a one-way in drive at the time. What we're proposing is 93% lot coverage now. So we're reducing the impervious. We're adding back in some green space on the east side of the property. Let's see, what else? When we talked about the number of units, 40 single family, 40 single bedroom, 1 2-bedroom. We were also looking for that variance for the interior landscaping around it of the we have to have 6%. In our last iteration, we had, there was a little bit of a miscalculation there because we were counting the landscaping here that was existing and that we were putting in. And if you read the ordinance, that does not count. It has to be interior to the parking area, which we did not have at that time either. We have some islands in here to allow for pedestrian access and areas where you can't park, but they are going to be paved and striped. And I should say refurbished paving. We're not changing the layout of the paving. And the reason that we cannot have landscaping on the interior is due to the turning templates of the fire apparatus. So that's the same reason that we had before, but that's why we cannot get that landscaping on the inside. Let's see, what's next? What I'd like to do next is share the parking study that we did. And this was done as requested for the last time we were in here. And this is a parking study that, that really anybody can do. We talked to the city, we talked to the church, and we talked to the neighborhood at the time, and came up with what their busiest times were. The concern is street parking, right? So we decided that Thursday evening at 7 p.m. was a good time to check the parking, and that was due to an ongoing meeting that occurs at the church, where they have an outside group that uses the church, and so we decided to do that time. Then we looked at, they wanted us to look at early in the morning before people go to work, so we did a Friday morning at 6:30. Obviously, there's some people that get to work before 6:30. I used to, I don't anymore, but you got to figure a lot of people were still in their homes at that time. And then we did two looks on a Sunday during church, and that is right when their service starts at 8 a.m. and 10:15 a.m. when they would have presumably the largest attendance at the church. And what we found, and if you look at the map, you can see the different areas and how they correlate to that, to this spreadsheet that you have. And basically what we did, we drove around, we found, we counted the number of cars that were parked. We measured the amount of space that was left on the street. We divided that by 20 because 20 feet is the required parallel parking dimension on a city street, and we found that we had these number of spaces at these various times and days remaining in this just over 1 block area. We did the entire block around this, and then we did a little bit, half a block in either direction on Madison Avenue. But as you can see, we had anywhere from mainly in the 60s, the number of parking spaces in that vicinity. And then Sunday morning, looks like the church did pretty well at their 8 a.m. Service, and there were only 48 in the neighborhood at that time. And again, that study was completed based on feedback not only from the city but from the residents. We are required to have an RDA letter as part of the special exception. I have that right here. I can share with the group. The RDA letter supports this project, assuming that we can meet all the requirements to get it permitted. So, we know that our variance request for the density, it's a hardship to be able to have only 15 units per acre on a building such as this. We also know that the parking counts, we've proven that time and time again. We have anecdotal evidence tonight from Mr. Bauer about a similar project, and this is also the amount of parking that was approved in the past. We also feel that with that parking that we have on site, supplemented with what we just showed in the parking study, that there is parking for this project. And then the interior landscaping we talked about. If we go down through what's required for the special exception and the general provisions for a multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use directly out of the ordinance, structural alterations, that was something that you granted a variance for before because we were demoing a part of the building. This time we're not, so that's not applicable. The approval of the alteration, again, not applicable this time. We just talked about the dimensional and parking requirements and the variances that we're seeking there. So that should set, assuming that we can get a favorable response from you tonight, that would satisfy item 3B of the multifamily requirement. We also talked about units per acre. Again, that's a variance that we are requesting in this. Habitable floor space, one-bedroom and two-bedroom apartments have a minimum habitable floor space requirement. Mr. Bauer has committed to meeting those square footages. Then we get down to item C, which is the special exception requirements. The building must have been vacant for 2 years. That is true. RDA must provide a letter. We provided that. Land development plan shall be required. That plan has already been submitted. It was submitted concurrently with this. Hopefully is already under review or will be under review immediately upon a favorable, assuming we get a favorable decision here this evening. Traffic study. We have a traffic study prepared by TRG. It's a trip generation letter, and I will enter that into the record as well at this time. I hope I have enough copies. I'm trying to keep one for myself so I can see about this. You would have seen this, for those of you who are on the board at the time. Well, I have an extra one here if I'm short.
May I ask a question, Madam Chair? So regarding the traffic study, is there any reason to believe there would be a large change in the findings between this traffic study from over a year ago and now?
I don't believe so because, if anything changed in that neighborhood, it would have been one or two properties here or there where somebody might have added an additional vehicle to their household. But yeah, there could be some very, very minor changes. But I don't know of anything in that neighborhood that would change the outcome of this study.
Thank you.
And so I'll let you look through that, but we can flip. I'll talk real briefly about Table 1, which really has to show what we have to show to meet the special exception requirement is that there's no significant change to the traffic. And based on the previous use of charter school, K through 12, and 50 student capacity, which is what that was. In fact, I think they had a larger capacity. I think 50 was their, they got close to 50 with the number of students. You can see during the AM and peak M hours, which is where we always study traffic, that's always the busiest, that we have a fairly significant drop across the board of trips in and out of that site. Lastly, I will just refer to the general special exception requirements that's required. Purpose, compatibility, suitability. We feel that in the RS2 zone, this will fit in nicely and compatibly with the comp plan and that zone. The building is there. We're not coming in and building something new. Serviceability, sewer and water have no issues. We're in the process of getting our planning module exemption. We had that for the previous one. We have to do it again. Water capacity is there, plenty of water capacity in the city. And then fire service, again, they've looked at that with the staff and with us in the developers meeting and have no problems there. Accessibility, we've improved the ingress and egress on the site with this new entrance. And we've improved the access to the building by providing an ADA accessible route in the parking lot and door to the building. Conformity, we're going to conform to the subdivision and land development ordinance, and outside of the variances that we've requested tonight, we're going to conform to the zoning ordinance. And then congestion, we addressed that with the traffic impact study, and the showing that the amount of traffic associated with this type of use is significantly less than what the previous use was. I believe that is all I have. We typically do a lot more detailed question and answer, trying to get all this information into the record. We're not in a floodplain. We have no wetlands. We have no PNDI or endangered species on the site. But because you've seen this before, and really we're doing the exact same thing with the exception of a few things that we're reducing. We're hoping that at this point we can let you ask your questions of us at this point, and we'll be glad to answer questions of the audience as well. Dylan, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No.
I'll
move around.
Another question. So, and these will still be quote unquote market-driven, market rate apartments, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You want me to go first?
Ladies first.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rischel. Good evening. My name is Joe Wagaman. I reside in the 500 block of Madison Avenue, and I was here at the planning meeting regarding this presentation, and I am impressed with what Royal Square wants to do with the Madison Avenue School, and I think it will be a nice addition to what needs to be done for that building. My only drawback, and I've said this before, is the parking. I have read the parking study, and I have driven around the neighborhood. I can tell you that the 600 block of Pennsylvania Avenue is parked up. I mean, there's not sufficient spaces there. I was surprised at the spaces that are in front of the school in the half a block of 544 and the other half of 700. But I still say that it's a big project. And even if they dropped it back 2 units, that would help with parking. Because if a couple has 2 cars, they're going to exceed the amount of spaces that will be in that area. But other than that, it's not a major change. I mean, 1 or 2, but I also understand the economics. So they have to do what they need to do, and I understand that. And that was my only comment. So thank you for allowing me to address you. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Richard Rischel. I have put on the paper that my address is 645 Madison Avenue. That is not where I live. That is the church that I attend, and it neighbors the school that is in question here. I would like to go on the record that we are thrilled that somebody wants to turn the present eyesore into something that's better, and I don't have any illusions that the city's going to approve it, because it'll be the first time since that was a cornfield that they will be able to tax it, because it's always been a school or a church or some function that it's been tax exempt. I would like to address a couple of things. It was stated that they don't have any access onto that, but for the better part of my life, we have allowed access through our parking lot, and on just a gentleman's agreement where we could use them as overflow parking for the previous owners up until the last few years. The people that owned it have then now blocked it off, and we don't have that arrangement anymore. But then when they have overflow parking, we'd allow them to park on us. And that worked well for, like I say, most of my lifetime. I question that it has been stated by Royal Square, and I love the work that they do in the city. They're great contractors. But they seem to think that they can put an entrance onto their property and lose one parking space on Madison. And I'm just no engineer, but there's no way that that's not going to lose probably 3 parking spaces. Again, that is stuff that maybe can be worked out. I don't know. I would like to also state that if the parking situation turns out to be what we expect it to be, in that there's going to be extra cars parking on the streets where there is no parking now, and that's just going to force more people parking illegally on us, and we don't want to be a nasty neighbor and be towing cars all the time. We do have a green space that we maybe could develop into an impervious type of parking where we wouldn't create more runoff. But I would like to hope that by being here and maybe get it on the record that that could be an answer for us, and that we may have to come before this board at some point in time in the future and request that. And I would like to just put that out there now, that that could be an answer for us in providing maybe a dozen more parking places for our own use. Other than that, I thank you for your time. I do think there's a lot of pluses. Certainly, it's going to pass because the city needs the tax revenue, and ever since, by the way, we're there 90 years this year. So, yeah, come to our spring fling on the 25th of April and get some barbecue chicken.
Love to.
Yeah, we give it away.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invitation. Okay, any questions up here from the board?
No, I just appreciate hearing from neighbors who have some constructive, pieces to toss out. So thank you.
Just being brought up to date.
All right. I'm going to move to approve dimensional variance for multifamily conversion from a different use found in section 1304.01-1.02.002B to include conversion of a school building into 41 units for the property at 601 Madison Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam and second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sina, aye.
I'll move to approve a variance to the required off-street parking spaces of 50 spaces found in section 1304.01-1.02.002D for the property 601 Madison Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam, second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Blade? Sorry, Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick? Aye. Sina, aye.
And I'll move to approve a variance to the required interior parking landscape found in section 1309.03. It looks like an L for the property at 601 Madison Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam, second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sina, aye.
And finally, I'll move to approve a special exception to allow multifamily use as defined in section 1304.01-1.02.002 for the property at 601 Madison Avenue.
Second.
Moved to be approved by Adam and second by Blake. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blake?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sina, aye. Congratulations.
Could I have you repeat what that first variance was, just to make sure
That was the dimensional variance for,
density,
well, I'm sorry?
for the density?
Yeah, let's see.
You can, it's
Conversion.
1304.01.102.
41 units.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the next item up is case number 9-2026-D-B. Applicant is Gavin Toomey, and the owner is G2 Rental Holdings LLC, both having an address of 670 Leaf Street. The subject property is located at 110 South Beaver Street, which address is located in the CBD Central Business Zoning District of the City of York. Applicant seeks a definitional variance to permit a multi-family dwelling conversion from a different use. As the applicant seeks a multi-family dwelling conversion from a different use on a property which is not an existing industrial, institutional, or commercial use. The case was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff recommends denial of the requested variance. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the requested variance. The record before the board this evening consists of the following: the application itself, a January 5th letter from zoning officer McMillan, a photo of the exterior of the building, a narrative related to the variance criteria, floor plans of the subject property, pictures of the interior and exterior of the subject property, and the deed to the subject property.
I'm Gavin Toomey.
And I'm Grant Portner.
If we may, we'll start off with about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will be glad to answer anybody's questions and concerns. So, good evening. Again, my name is Gavin Toomey,
And I'm Grant.
and we are the owners of G2 Rentals here in York. Over the past 3 years, we have acquired and renovated apartment units throughout the York City, focusing on restoring overlooked and neglected buildings so they can provide safe, well-managed housing for residents. We proudly self-manage all of our properties, which means we personally work with and assist our residents on a daily basis. As you are aware and was stated, we are here to present our case of a variance to change the definition of use from a single-family home to a multifamily home. And we appreciate the opportunity to be able to stand here in front of you all tonight to present our case and request tonight in regarding of 110 South Beaver Street.
So one thing that's a little different about how we operate is how we personally manage all of our properties rather than using a third-party management company. Because of that, we actually know our residents personally and stay directly involved in day-to-day care of our buildings. We view these properties as long-term investments here in New York, and our goal is to hold and maintain them for many years, ideally decades, while continuing to improve them over time.
Giving back to the York community is very important to us. 2 years ago, we hosted our first charity event, which raised just under $7,500, and we gave those funds to the Give Local York Stretch Pool and the Alan Stauffer Memorial. Last year, the event grew significantly, raising over $41,000, which we donated to the York YMCA, the sister branch, the YCDC. I believe a lot of you are likely familiar with them. We've had an opportunity to build our relationships with the people there at the YCDC and the YMCA. Building off of that momentum, Grant and I, along with our wives, recently launched our 501c3 nonprofit called Rebuilding Families Foundations, which supports families facing major hardships, such as medical crisis, family tragedies that insurance often cannot cover. Our goal this year is to raise over $100,000 to be able to give back to our local community here in York. We also have made it a point to connect, with the neighbors around 110 South Beaver Street, and we're grateful that they have spoken up here and came to shake our hands. And we had the opportunity to show them the building that actually the neighbor used to live in 40 years ago. So Grant gave him a personal tour and down memory lane. It was very fun. It was neat to see.
So getting into the property here, one of the main reasons we are requesting approval for 3 units is because the building was originally designed and laid out as a 3-unit property. In fact, the day we took ownership of the building from the previous owner, he told us that he had rented out the other units before he decided to take over the whole building for himself as one big house. Even though the previous owner used the building as his primary residence, the structure still reflects the original layout with 3 entry doors, 3 kitchens, 4 bathrooms, and a distinct bedroom in each apartment. The rear unit also has its own exterior entrance. Importantly, we have not changed the layout of the building. It already functions as 3 separate living spaces, and our request is to simply obtain the proper licensing for the building's natural design.
As you are aware, the property is located in the Central Business District, where residential density plays an important role in supporting downtown businesses. There are 1,864 businesses operating across York City that came from Downtown Inc. These businesses depend on the residents and workers being able to live near where they work and play. Increasing that number of residents living within walking distance of downtown helps support restaurants, shops, and local businesses while making efficient use of an existing structure. Within the CBD, there are roughly 100 to 150 businesses, all within walking distance there, following the square. So they rely heavily on foot traffic, and this would increase, obviously, that number to be able to add to our community in the foot traffic area there. At the same time, York City continues to experience strong demand for housing. Using the buildings in the way that they were originally designed for helps meet that need while strengthening the local economy.
And some of you may recognize Gavin and myself, as we've had the opportunity to appear before this board twice before for similar requests on Madison Avenue and Roosevelt Avenue. In those cases, we were seeking the proper licensing for buildings that were already laid out for a different number of units than what they were licensed for, just like the property we were talking about tonight. Those approvals allowed the buildings to operate according to their existing layout, and they continue to run smoothly today without issues from the neighbors or the surrounding community. Projects like these help contribute to the continued revitalization of York by improving properties and encouraging further investment from the neighbors in the neighborhood.
Lastly, our goal is to improve the property and provide safe, quality housing for residents, the legal and professional way to do so. Approving this request allows the building to operate the way it was originally designed for while giving 2 additional families a place to call home here in downtown York. We appreciate your time and consideration. We're happy to answer any of the questions that you may have. Thank you.
George Fitch, 106 South Beaver Street. I live next door, and I know they said they went to Bob and Monica, and they talked, and Bob lived there, and he was the one who gave me the history of it being a 3-family apartment. And the person who lived there prior, they're correct. He tried to clean it up, but when I saw what they had to do to clean it up and renovate it, there was at least 2 decades worth of junk they took out. So I saw that, I appreciate that. But the problem that I have is that living right next door, that there are 2 parking spots that many times the workers that they had would just commandeer, to the point where I had to get a $45 ticket because I was double parked because somebody was in my parking spot. And that caused me more angst. And I said, well, I'm a nice guy, and I didn't see you guys. And I'm trying to find the worker, and my wife was there and trying to find out who, who was the owner, and she had to call someone who's from San Francisco. So we're just like, well, I just want to find out what's really going on. Okay. Now, that being said, across the street you have the police department. There used to have 3 parking spaces across from my house, across from 106 and 110, where you could park, because then it was easier. But since then, they've painted all yellow. So now that's police parking only. So the thing that I'm worried about is that just parking, because it's already congested. You already have the county parking lot. Then you have some spaces that are there, but still you have the city parking lot. And even now, we have a 2 space parking pad, but my wife still buys her own city parking. So just to have enough space if someone comes over. So again, I agree with everything they're saying. We definitely need more foot traffic. We definitely need more people there. It'll be tighter because more people will be next door. And hopefully, if they're working with who they're bringing in, we get some quality neighbors. Because again, we've had some people who broken the walkway door that we had, the pass-through door between our houses, and it was shattered because someone got drunk and was looking for Ethel. I don't know her name, but so we're trying to see how we can try and work together, because again, it was always myself. I forgot his name, who lived in 110, but Bob and Monica, and we take care of the back. We'd make sure everything was together. So we work together. So that's where we're trying to really have established, because it was a close-knit group. Now you see a lot of, on the right side, you see a lot of apartments, more so than on the left of Beaver Street. So again, I understand it. Again, just like everyone said, we want to revitalize the city because it's a walking city and it could be a great city. But just the concern of the parking area, and if we could even, get that part in front of the police station turned back into parking. I'm just looking. I'm no pressure, but if that could happen, because then that would definitely help alleviate some of the issues that we have. That's my time. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
If we may.
Yeah.
Sir, what was your name again?
George Fick.
George, I thought so, George. Thank you, George. I appreciate your comments. We definitely
Just a quick question.
don't.
You have the reciprocal house right next to it. Talk about the causeway going between them.
Yeah, we have
One of the pictures, you have the brick house right next to it.
I have the brick house. It's almost, they call them twin houses.
Right.
So I have the right side of it. So we have that. Then at the back, there's which is nice. You have a wooden door coming in, and we go to the left, and it has an old school English brick going up to the front, going up to the back door. So I mean, it's a nice piece of property, and theirs goes straight and down to their area, and Bob and Monica's veers off to the right. So it was just that area that we still have that share that egress on the back and the front. Thank you.
So, yeah, our comments back to that is we definitely appreciate George for coming up here and letting us know that, and we want to work with George. We would love to work with you. So I believe I did speak with your wife, Karen, I believe, and when she told us what was going on, where we had contractors that were parked in their parking spots, we did the best that we can right away to make sure that when we walk through with all of our contractors, to let them know as soon as we were found out about this, that's not our parking. You cannot park there. So for us, I know that we did speak with Maria Ramos, the parking enforcement officer for York City, and she let us know, because we're inquiring, okay, well, that's not our parking. We need to make sure that we know that for when we have residents that are living in here and going to be moving moving in. So lot 9, they can acquire a parking pass that they pay $45 a month is the discount. It's $60, but if you live there, it's $45, I believe. I could check my notes, but I'm pretty confident in that. So $45 a month for our tenants, for the residents to be able to park in that open parking lot where there's multiple parking spots available there. So I believe that is the best solution. There's a applicable parking lot there for us, and we can go ahead and educate our residents on that. Hey, here's where you park. And that's when, Grant, myself, and our team internally, when we're walking with our residents to show them the apartment, that's just something that we make sure that they are well aware of and show them how to obtain that, give them the Maria's email. It's a very simple process to obtain that parking pass the right way. And then that is a fee that they would be responsible for covering to be able to have that parking. Now, some people may not need it at all. And obviously, I know, as you guys know, in the Central Business District, it's not a variance, which is why it's not on the documentation for the paperwork here. But absolutely, George, hear your concerns, and we want you to know that we want to be a neighbor that works with you, and we respect what you have to say, and absolutely. So hopefully that works.
Is there any area behind the house for making a parking lot? I mean, I don't know if there's access back there.
Yeah. There isn't, unfortunately. Our property's landlocked by George's and Bob's. It actually wraps around ours, and we have an egress to that parking lot in the rear.
Board, any questions? Yes, sir.
So the utilities are
Oh.
separate utilities for gas and electric?
Great question. Yeah, we didn't bring that up. So electric was already split to 3 meters. When we bought it, there was 3 meters on the house, and I can't remember his name. The previous owner was paying 3 electric bills. Carl. So the gas is not split, but we have split the boiler to only serve one of the apartments at this point, which is the largest one. So they would be technically all split up now.
Gavin, how many bedrooms will be in each unit? Sorry about that.
Jane Stamball, 129 North Penn Street. How many bedrooms do you propose for each unit?
It's 1, 1, and 2.
1, 1, and 2. Okay.
Full
Okay.
bedrooms, too.
Full bedrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. 1, 1, and 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Which are already there.
That's right.
That's right. No, correct. You can see that too in the bullet points, yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Just the comment to, exchange those numbers before you head out. Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt all of you will be good neighbors, and that's what we're all here for. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate you.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got a cold tonight. But in the case of 9-2026-Z-SE-Victor V, for the property at 110 South Beaver Street, I recommend approval of a variance to the definition of multifamily conversion to a different use as defined in section 1304.1-1.02.002A at the property of 110 South Beaver Street in the CBD zoning district.
I second it. It's been moved to be approved by Nick, second by Sina, and we are calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blake?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
And Sina, aye.
Good job. Keep up. I mean, I really liked your presentation.
Yes.
It's very well coordinated, and we don't get that all the time. Everything's
thorough.
good.
Yeah.
Good job.
That means a lot. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
good company.
Do that. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Priss, for coming out. Appreciate it.
Good evening.
All right, sir, Mr. Solicitor, could you read in the next case, or last case?
All right, next case is case number 10-2026 -Z-SC-V. The applicant is, sorry if I mispronounce it, Araya Carmazin.
Yeah, that's my associate, yes.
Of 752 East Willow Street, Lebanon, Pennsylvania. The owner of the subject property is Zook Rentals LLC of 150 Forest Road in Myerstown, Pennsylvania. The subject property is located at 705 Philadelphia Street. The address is located in the UN2 Urban Residential Neighborhood Zoning District of the City of York. Applicant seeks several variances and a special exception to permit a multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use. First, the applicant seeks a definitional variance to permit a multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use, as the applicant seeks a multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use on a property which is not an existing industrial, institutional, or commercial use. Next, the applicant seeks variance to exceed the density requirements of the zoning ordinance of the City of York to permit up to 2 units. The applicant also seeks a variance to reduce the number of required off-street parking spaces. Finally, the applicant seeks a special exception to permit a multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use, which use is permitted by special exception in the UN2 zone. The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff recommends denial of the variances related to definition of multifamily dwelling conversion from a different use, and then the planning staff recommends approval of the requested variance related to parking. The planning staff recommends approval of the special exception pending approval of all variances. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval of all requested variances and recommended approval of the requested special exception. The record before the zoning hearing board consists of the application itself, a November 23rd, 2025 letter from zoning officer McMillian, a deed to the subject property, photos of the subject property, and floor plans of the subject property.
My name is Kip Kelly. I'm an architect representing Amos Zook, the owner of the property. Mr. Zook purchased the property in May of 2025. The project had been condemned in August of 24, and he purchased it in an effort to be able to rehabilitate that property. The building currently has 2 entrances. It also has 2 electric meters. We've learned that those electric meters were installed back in 2016, according to the electric company. So we're not we're not requesting approval for any additions or changes to the outside of the building. We just want to be able to fix the building back up and get the 2 families back into the building. As far as the requirements and the UN2 zone, the property meets a majority of the requirements. The minimum lot width is 2,000 square feet. We have 2645. The lot width is 23 feet when 20 is required. The setbacks front and rear and side are 0, and we clear obviously we meet those. Minimum building height allowed 20, and we're about 35 feet. Maximum building height allowed 40, and we're under that at, again, 35 feet. Maximum total impervious surface allowed is 75% of gross lot area, and we're at 70%, so we meet that one. And the only item that we are short on is the density, units per acre. In this zone, you would need 1,815 square feet per acre, and our property's 2645, so we would be allowed, if we were building new, 1.46 units, but again, there's no intention of making it any larger, and 2 units is all we're requesting. We've been in touch and in conversation with the Development Authority. The gentleman we were working with, Blanda Nace, unfortunately is no longer with the city. With the new administration, he unfortunately lost his position. But as far as meeting the goals of the Redevelopment Authority, we think we're doing exactly what they're charged to do. The goals of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of York for condemned properties include eliminating blighted conditions, ensuring compliance with building codes, and restoring properties to become economic assets that contribute to the city's tax base and development plans. That's all we're trying to do. And when Mr. Zook bought the property, he was of the impression it was a 2-unit building. Unfortunately, on the books, it was still labeled a single family. He's just requesting that we get to be able to take it back to the way it's always been. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Is there anyone in the gallery who has anything to say as far as this case? Okay, board, any questions?
As far as the off-street parking, looks like there's a garage in the picture. There is a garage. There's parking for 2 cars, and if you look at the plans, we're showing the ability to park a 3rd car on the lot, and this zone requires 1.5 parking places per unit, so we can meet that requirement.
Park it where at? Excuse me? You say you're parking the 3rd car back here somewhere?
Yeah, the concept was to put a opening in the back of the garage on one side so that we can get tandem parking, put one outside on the yard between the garage and the house, and then the other 2 stalls. Again, there's been 2 families that were living in the house. We're not sure when they moved out. We're still getting mail from those 2 families. They survive with just the 2 parking places in the garage, but we know parking's important to the neighbors, and so we figured out a way to be able to get an extra parking place for probably the family with the 3 bedrooms.
But you still want a variance, it's in your application for variance to park. Right now you have 2, you need 3. It sounds like you have 3.
Well, I think they don't specifically allow tandem parking, as I.
Are you saying we don't need 3?
No, you do need 3.
Do need 3.
Yeah.
And that's why you have the variance in here. Because
Yes.
Basically, 1 for 3.
That's the idea of opening the garage.
Maybe you need to come up and, because we've got.
Yeah.
Swear yourself.
Introduce yourself and then swear yourself in.
Or just say who you are.
I'm Amos, the owner of Zook Rentals, and so the idea of the 3rd parking spot is one side would be tandem, the other side would be single. I mean, obviously it could do tandem both sides if they want, but there's plenty of room beyond the garage for that.
But then if you do that, then he runs the risk of unbalancing this impervious, the 75-25. Because if you look at this yard is very small. And then if you need to put more cement down and everything, so then they ain't really gonna have any grass back there. So they're gonna have to come back and
So we essentially want to go with what we have.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm bringing up, is
Yeah.
you ask for a variance,
Yeah.
you have to.
So forgive me, the variance that's on the table right now is to reduce the parking from 3 to 2?
But it doesn't say that specifically, but it just basically.
Okay, that's what we would prefer, because that's the way it's been.
So, I live in that neighborhood.
Pardon me?
I live in that neighborhood. I live up on Market Street, right there, and I drove by this property all the time. And I did notice, that there's been a lot of construction going on there and all that, and I really like it anytime there's construction going on in that neighborhood. You say there's 2 meters, 2 electric meters right now, and there's 2 gas meters, or
Yeah,
just
you
one?
go in the main front door, and then there's a door to get into the ground floor unit on the right, and then you go up the stairs, and there's a separate door for the upper unit.
So are there 2 electric meters and 2 gas meters?
2 electric meters.
And 1 gas? Okay, okay, okay. And I noticed that, yeah, the garage in the back is easy to get to and all that. I've seen that in the back, yeah. So, no, I have no more questions or comments.
Well, I will move to approve a variance to the definition of multifamily conversion from a different use as defined in section 1304.01-1.02.002A at 705 East Philadelphia Street.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam and second by, is that Blake? Okay, thank you. By Blade, and we're calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Tina, aye.
I'll move to approve a dimensional variance for multifamily conversion from a different use found in section 1304.01-1.02.002 to convert single-family dwelling into 2 units for the property at 705 East Philadelphia Street.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam and second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Tina, aye.
I'll move to approve a variance to the required off-street parking found in section 1304.01-1.02.002D for the property at 705 East Philadelphia Street.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam and second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Adam, I'm sorry, Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Tina, aye.
And finally, I'll move to approve a special exception to allow multifamily use as defined in section 1304.01-1.02.002 for the property at 705 East Philadelphia Street.
Second.
It's been moved to be approved by Adam and second by Blade. Calling for the vote. Lester?
Aye.
Blade?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Tina, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
And the last case this evening is case number 11-2026 D-SE. The applicant and owner of the subject property is Jacqueline George of 425 Pacific Avenue. The address is also the location of the subject property and is located in the RS2 Single Family Attached Residential Conservation District of the City of York. The applicant seeks a special exception to permit a home occupation of the subject property, which use is not permitted by right or by special exception in the RS2 zoning district. The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the city of York. The planning staff recommends approval of the requested special exception. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the requested special exception. The record before the zoning hearing board consists of the application itself. No other items were included in the packet to the board.
I am Jackie George of 425 Pacific Avenue. I feel very anticlimactic after everything else this evening. I'm not going to be doing construction and parking's not an issue. I am a licensed clinical social worker and I specialize in providing counseling to children and their families. And I'm asking to be able to use 425 Pacific Avenue as my counseling space.
Is there anyone here who is specifically here for this case and would like to speak about it? Okay, thank you.
Do you currently practice somewhere else and you're just trying to consolidate to your own living space, or?
No, I did practice somewhere else, but now I would like to practice all at 425 Pacific.
Thank you.
And just for practicality purpose, what kind of traffic will you see? Will it be cars dropping off, things like that?
So the home has 4 spaces behind it that are marked reserved, and there's parking on the street. So my car would be parked there. And then kids are not dropped off. Their parents are required to be on site. So there would be the car of the family that's visiting. Sometimes both parents come. So I might have 3 cars, but again, there's 4 spaces.
Yeah, you've got a lot of parking, so that's
Yes.
great. And how long have you been there? How long have you lived? Do you live there?
We bought the home June 27th, and we moved in July 27th
Cool.
of last year.
Okay. New to the city, or you?
Live in Edders.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to York City. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
As far as the business side of it, is that totally secluded away from your living space, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I am not currently living in that home.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is strictly going to be used for a business. The home is going to be used only for business.
My dream is that my son lives in the upstairs, but I haven't convinced him of this dream yet. But yes, it would be just the business right now.
Gotcha. But the upstairs will remain residential, essentially.
It could, or it could be more office space.
Gotcha. Okay.
Your therapy, your counseling is not
No, no. Gotcha. No, it's outpatient, so they come for their appointment and they leave. Yes. No. Thank you for clarifying. Yes.
Yeah, were you able to meet any of the neighbors yet? And
Yes, Michael from the school board lives across the street, and the church people have been very friendly. They still are getting it. The building was previously owned by the church, and so the mailman still drops 425 Pacific mail. So they're constantly bringing mail over to me. They're very kind about it.
awesome. That was the most questions I asked in a long time.
All right. So I move to approve a special exception to allow a home occupation as defined in section 1304.02.7.11 for the property at 425 Pacific Avenue in the RS2 zoning district.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved to be approved by Sina and second by Adam. Calling for the vote, Lester,
Aye.
Blade,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Nick, and Sina, aye. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Same to you.
And we are adjourned.
Yes, sir. I think we missed, the gentleman would like to.
Oh,
All right, my name is,
one by cases.
can I get? All right, my name is Jerry King, and I had come down for 101 East Springsbury, and y'all went past it. And my comment is good though, but there's a reason why I'm here though.
Actually, that case was continued. That's why we went over it. That's why we didn't even address it.
Can I get my comment about it? I don't feel much.
It's not going to
Think about
merit it
But-
because that case was not put on for tonight.
Okay.
So, when they do reschedule it, if you want to come back.
All right, can I give a short, if people can hear it so they'll know what's going on a little bit? It won't take long, a few minutes.
It's honestly, it's not, because we can't apply it to the case, even though we would hear what you are saying now, because the case is not here before
Okay.
and the person is not here.
It's coming up then.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, all right, because my thing is that I like what's happening because there's recovery houses next door to me. 13, 14 men in one house. They don't even shovel the sidewalk,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
okay? And these are people being educated. It's moving forward. These guys here don't do nothing. I'll keep the contract.
So please come back.
Coming out, yeah.